The moment before your world shatters feels exactly like any other moment. I remember thinking that as I stood in the church vestibule, smoothing down my custom Vera Wang gown. The sunlight streamed through stained glass windows, casting rainbow patterns across the marble floor. Everything was perfect, because I'd made damn sure it would be. My name is Deborah, and I plan weddings for a living. The irony isn't lost on me. For 10 years, I've orchestrated hundreds of perfect days for other brides. Today was supposed to be mine. 5 minutes. Hadley, my assistant, poked her head around the door. Her eyes widened. God, Deb, you look like $1,000,000? I smiled, adjusting my veil. I should. The dress cost nearly that much. She laughed, but I caught the flicker of concern in her eyes. We both knew something wasn't right. We'd known for weeks. The organ music started, right on cue. My father squeezed my arm as we lined up behind the massive wooden doors. Ready, sweetheart? I nodded, throat tight, not with emotion, with anticipation. The doors swung open. I saw Bodhi at the altar, handsome in his tuxedo, that $1,000,000 smile plastered across his face. Our eyes met, and for a split second, his smile faltered. He knew something was wrong, too. Morgan sat in the front row, wearing a pale blue dress that seemed a size too tight. Her hands kept fidgeting with her purse. 3 months ago, I might have mistaken that nervousness for emotion. Now I knew better. The minister began his welcome as I reached the altar. Dearly beloved. Wait. Morgan's voice cut through the silence like a knife. She stood up, clutching her purse like a shield. I can't let this happen. A collective gasp rippled through the church. I didn't turn around. I kept my eyes fixed on Bodhi, watching the color drain from his face. I'm having his baby, Morgan announced, her voice breaking. I'm so sorry, Deb, but I'm carrying Bodhi's child. The silence that followed was deafening. I could feel hundreds of eyes burning into my back, waiting for the inevitable breakdown, the screaming, the tears, the drama they'd gossip about for years to come. Instead, I smiled. Slowly, deliberately, I turned to face my best friend of 12 years. The woman who'd helped me pick out this very dress, who'd held my hand through every failed relationship before Bodhi, who'd been sleeping with my fiancé for God knows how long. I stepped toward the microphone stand we'd set up for the vows. Funny timing, Morgan. My voice was steady, amplified through the church's perfect acoustics. I wonder if the child support payments will still apply when he's broke by morning. Bodhi's face went from pale to gray. Deb, what are you talking about? I pulled an envelope from my bouquet, white to match the flowers. You really should have read the prenup more carefully, darling, especially the infidelity clause. I turned to address our guests. I apologize for bringing you all here under false pretenses. There won't be a wedding today, but there will be a show. Morgan stumbled backward. You knew? Oh, honey, I said, opening the envelope. I'm a wedding planner. I notice everything, like how the bride's best friend suddenly starts wearing loose-fitting clothes, or how my fiancé's late-night business calls always happened when you were working late at the office. I pulled out a stack of papers, but mostly I noticed the money transfers, the secret account, the real estate fraud. I locked eyes with Bodhi. Did you really think I wouldn't find out? His face contorted with rage. He lunged forward, but my father, bless him, stepped between us. Security? I called out. 2 men in dark suits emerged from the back of the church. Please escort Mr. Gibson out. The police will want to speak with him about those missing investor funds. As they led him away, I turned back to Morgan. She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. The baby, she whimpered, is as real as your loyalty, I finished. I have the receipts for the fake pregnancy tests you bought. Would you like me to share those too? She ran from the church, handbag clutched to her chest, heels clicking against the marble floor. I faced our guests one last time. The reception is still on. Open bar, amazing food. I planned it after all. Consider it a celebration of dodging bullets instead of throwing rice. I paused. Oh, and Morgan? If you're still listening, I've already frozen all our joint accounts. Good luck with the baby shower. 3 months earlier, I was working late at my office, finalizing details for the Henderson wedding, when I first heard it, Bodhi's voice drifting up from the street below my window. We have to be careful, he was saying. She's not stupid. I moved closer to the window, staying hidden behind the curtain. Morgan's laugh floated up next. Please, she's so busy planning everyone else's perfect day, she doesn't see what's right in front of her. My hands didn't shake as I reached for my phone. They should have, but something inside me had gone very, very cold. I recorded their conversation, watching their reflection in the building opposite as they stood in the shadows of the parking garage. The account is set up, Bodhi continued. Once we're married, the trust fund transfers automatically. We'll have to wait a few months after that, make it look natural when we split. And then? Morgan's voice was eager, young, like a child planning a heist with candy bars instead of my life savings. Then we're set. The money, the house, everything. I stopped recording. Carefully, I opened my laptop and pulled up our joint account information. In 3 clicks, I found what I was looking for. A series of transfers to an offshore account, each just under the reporting threshold. Hadley? I called out. She appeared in my doorway, coffee in hand. I need you to do something for me. No questions asked. She set down her coffee. Anything. Follow Morgan. Record everything. And I mean everything. The next few weeks were a master class in deception. I played the excited bride, gushing over flower arrangements and table settings. Meanwhile, I was building a case that would destroy them both. The caterer called, Morgan announced, bursting into my office one morning. They're trying to change the menu. I looked up from my computer, where I'd just finished documenting another suspicious transfer. Really? That's strange, considering I spoke to them an hour ago. Everything's confirmed. She faltered just for a second. Oh, I must have misunderstood. Must have, I agreed pleasantly. Like you must have misunderstood when you told the venue we wanted to change the date, or when you tried to cancel the photographer. Color drained from her face. I don't know what you're talking about. No? I pulled out a folder. I have signed statements from every vendor you contacted trying to sabotage my wedding. Did you really think they wouldn't tell me? I've worked with these people for years. Deb, Save it. I stood up. I know about the affair. I know about the money. I know everything. She took a step back. Are you going to tell Bodhi? I laughed then, and it wasn't a nice sound. Tell him? Oh, honey, he's the one who gave me the idea. All those late-night calls about wedding plans when he thought I was sleeping, I recorded every single one. You can't prove anything, she whispered. Actually, I can, but I won't. Not yet. I sat back down, smoothing my skirt. The wedding will go on as planned. You'll be there, in that hideous blue dress you chose. You'll watch me walk down the aisle. And then what? And then you'll learn why people hire me to plan the most important day of their lives. Because I never, ever leave anything to chance. That night, I made 3 phone calls. The first was to my bank, implementing a complete freeze on all joint accounts, effective the morning of the wedding. The second was to the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit, providing evidence of Bodhi's real estate fraud. The third was to Curtis, Bodhi's cousin. I need a favor, I said when he answered. Name it, he replied without hesitation. He'd never liked Bodhi. I need you to be at the wedding, and I need you to film everything. The night before the wedding, I sat in my apartment, surrounded by evidence of their betrayal. Hadley brought wine. Are you sure about this? She asked, pouring generous glasses. It's not too late to just call it off. I took a sip. They thought they could steal my money, my dignity, my life. They thought I was too naive to see it coming. I picked up the prenup with its carefully worded infidelity clause. Tomorrow they learn what happens when you underestimate a woman who makes dreams come true for a living. And after? I smiled, thinking of the trust fund they didn't know about, the one my Aunt Heidi had told me about last week, the one that would fund my new start, far away from their lies. After, I rebuild, but first I burn it all down. The day after my non-wedding, I sat in my office, staring at the wall of photos from celebrations I'd planned. Happy couples, genuine smiles, real love. My phone hadn't stopped buzzing since yesterday. Hadley knocked and entered, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Your sister's here. I sighed. Send her in. Sarah breezed through the door in designer clothes that probably cost more than her monthly influencer income. Oh my God, sis. I can't believe this happened to you. She threw her arms around me, her perfume overwhelming. I mean, I always knew something was off about Bodhi, but Morgan, Your best friend? I carefully extracted myself from her embrace. Did you really know something was off, Sarah? Or did you help them? She froze. What are you talking about? Funny thing about planning a wedding, you have to look at a lot of financial documents. I pulled out my laptop, like credit checks, bank statements, loan applications. Sarah's perfectly contoured face paled. Deb, imagine my surprise when I found loan applications in my name. Loans I never took out. I turned the screen toward her. Care to explain? I needed the money, she whispered. My followers expect a certain lifestyle. The brands weren't paying enough. So you committed identity theft? Against your own sister? Morgan said you'd understand. She said you'd want to help me if you knew. The pieces clicked into place. When exactly did Morgan say this? Sarah looked away. About 6 months ago. She said you were too focused on your perfect life to see how much I was struggling. She offered to help me with the paperwork. And in exchange? She just wanted to know things about you, your insecurities, what makes you tick. Sarah's voice cracked. I didn't know what she was planning, I swear. Get out. My voice was ice. Deb, please. Get out. I stood up, hands shaking. The police will contact you about the identity theft. Don't leave town. After she left, Hadley poked her head in. Your Aunt Heidi is here. Says it's important. Heidi entered, carrying a thick manila envelope. My mother's estranged sister, the black sheep of the family. We hadn't spoken in years. Well, she said, settling into a chair, you certainly know how to throw a wedding. If you're here to gloat, I'm here to help. She placed the envelope on my desk. Your mother never told you about the trust fund, did she? I stared at her. What trust fund? The one your grandmother left you. The one your mother's been keeping secret for 10 years. She tapped the envelope. Everything's in here, including proof that she's been siphoning money from it. My head spun. Why are you showing me this now? Because I watched you yesterday, standing in that church, refusing to be a victim. Heidi leaned forward. You're just like your grandmother. She wouldn't have let them get away with it either. I opened the envelope with trembling fingers. Documents, bank statements, letters, evidence of a betrayal that went deeper than I'd imagined. Your mother manipulated the trustees, Heidi explained, made them think you declined the inheritance, but she couldn't touch the principal without your signature. It's been sitting there, growing, waiting for you to claim it. How much? Enough to start over, enough to make them all pay. My phone buzzed, a text from Curtis. Found something you need to see. Meet me at the Grove, 7 p.m. I looked up at Heidi. Why help me? Because 20 years ago, your mother did the same thing to me, turned the family against me, stole what was mine. She stood up. I didn't fight back then, but you can now. After she left, Hadley brought me fresh coffee. What are you thinking? I stared at the documents, at Sarah's loans, at the text from Curtis. A plan was forming. Intricate, devastating, perfect. I'm thinking it's time to call in some favors. I picked up my phone. Remember that society columnist who owes me for fixing her daughter's disaster wedding? Hadley grinned. The one with the podcast about local scandals? That's the one. I started dialing. Call our contact at the real estate board and that private investigator who helped with the Williams wedding last year. What are we doing? I looked at the wall of happy couples, at all those perfect days I'd created. We're planning something better than a wedding. We're planning karma. My phone buzzed again. Morgan, we need to talk. Please, I can explain everything. I texted back one word. Soon. Then I opened my laptop and began to type, Dear members of the board, I am writing to report suspicious activity regarding the Gibson Real Estate Development Fund. The game was on. The Grove was quiet at 7 p.m., just a few evening diners scattered across the patio. Curtis sat at a corner table, a manila folder in front of him, looking more serious than I'd ever seen Bodie's easygoing cousin. Thanks for meeting me, he said as I sat down. You look better than expected for someone whose wedding imploded 2 days ago. Rage is an excellent motivator. I nodded at the folder. What did you find? He slid it across the table. Bodie's been running this scam for years. Different cities, different women, different names. But the pattern's always the same. Inside were photos, documents, newspaper clippings. 3 other women, all successful, all with access to substantial funds, all engaged to Bodhi under different aliases. Jesus, I whispered. It gets worse. Curtis pulled out his phone, played a voice message. Bodhi's voice filled the air. The wedding planner's perfect, loaded, connected, and too busy looking at other people's happiness to see what's right in front of her. Morgan's playing her part beautifully. My hands clenched into fists. When was this? 6 months ago, I saved everything. He paused. I tried to warn you, but I was too in love to see it. I closed the folder. Why help me now? Because he's my cousin, and he's a monster. Someone needs to stop him. Curtis leaned forward. I have access to all his real estate records, every fraudulent deal, every stolen dollar. I could use that, I admitted. I'm building something, a takedown, but I need help. Count me in. He smiled, and for the first time, I noticed how different it was from Bodhi's. Genuine, warm. What's the plan? My phone buzzed. Hadley. Morgan just left the office. You need to see this. Want to find out? I stood up. Come with me. 20 minutes later, we walked into my office. Hadley sat at her desk, laptop open, practically vibrating with energy. Show them, she demanded. The security footage played. Morgan, sneaking into my office after hours, rifling through files, taking photos of documents. That's from last week, Hadley said. But watch this. She switched to today's footage. Morgan again, but this time leaving an envelope on my desk. I walked over, picked it up. Inside was a photo of a positive pregnancy test, dated 3 months ago. Look at the brand, Hadley pointed. That test was discontinued 2 years ago. She faked it. Curtis whistled low. You've got her. Not yet. I sat down, mind racing. We need more. Everything. Every lie, every manipulation, every person they've hurt. I can help with that too. Curtis pulled out his phone. Remember that real estate podcast Bodhi appeared on last month? The host owes me a favor. Perfect. I opened my laptop. Hadley, remember that trust fund my aunt mentioned? I need everything. Bank records, trustee meetings, every document my mother touched. Already on it. She grinned. And you'll never guess who the bank manager is. Morgan's sister. The one who lost her house in that mysterious foreclosure last year. Call her, I said. Tell her we're having a little reunion. My phone buzzed again. A text from Morgan. Please meet me. I'm pregnant, scared, and alone. I showed it to Curtis and Hadley. She's getting desperate. Good, Hadley said. Desperate people make mistakes. I started typing a response, then paused. You know what's better than catching them in lies? What? Letting them tell the truth thinking no one's listening. I smiled. Curtis, how would you like to host a small gathering? Something exclusive for real estate investors? His eyes lit up. Where Bodhi might feel comfortable bragging about his methods. Exactly. And Hadley, remember that charity event Morgan's firm is organizing next month? The one where she's handling all the donations? Get me the books, every transaction. I stood up, energy coursing through me. They wanted to play games? Fine, let's play. What about your sister? Curtis asked. And your mother? They'll get their own special invitations. I picked up my phone. But first, let's give Morgan what she wants, a meeting. Tomorrow at that cafe she loves, the one with all the security cameras. You're going to record it? No, I smiled. I'm going to let her record it. Let her think she's gathering evidence against me. While we what? Hadley leaned forward. While we prepare for the real show. I opened my calendar. 1 month from today, we're hosting an event, a celebration of truth, justice, and consequences. My phone buzzed one final time. Morgan, thank you. Tomorrow at 10, I'll explain everything. I texted back, can't wait to hear all about it. Then I looked at my newfound allies. Hope you're ready for a crash course in event planning, because this is going to be the performance of a lifetime. The dominoes started falling exactly 1 week after my coffee meeting with Morgan. I sat in my office, watching it unfold on multiple screens while Hadley refreshed news feeds. Breaking news, she read aloud. Major real estate developer under investigation for fraud. Multiple properties frozen. My phone lit up with a text from Curtis. It's done. Board received all the documents. Bodhi's license suspended pending investigation. I smiled, remembering Morgan's tearful performance at the cafe. how she'd secretly recorded our entire conversation, thinking she was gathering ammunition, not realizing every word she spoke about the fake pregnancy, about their plans, about the money, was being recorded by 3 different devices. Look at this. Hadley turned her laptop toward me. Morgan's company's homepage displayed an urgent notice. Internal audit in progress. All charitable donations under review. How long until they find the discrepancies? Hours. The forensic accountant says her embezzlement wasn't even subtle. My phone buzzed again. Sarah. OMG, did you do this? The police just came to my apartment. I didn't respond. Let her sweat. Incoming, Hadley warned, just as Morgan burst through my office door. What did you do? She screamed, mascara running down her face. They're saying I stole from charities. They're auditing everything. I didn't look up from my computer. Sounds stressful. Almost as stressful as discovering your best friend and fiancé were planning to steal your life savings. I'm pregnant. You can't do this to me. Really? I finally met her eyes. Then you won't mind taking a real pregnancy test. Right now. I have one in my desk. She backed away. I don't have to prove anything to you. No? Then I guess you won't mind me sending this to everyone. I held up my phone, showing the receipt for the expired pregnancy test she'd bought. Interesting purchase date, the day before my wedding. You bitch, she whispered. I learned from the best. I stood up. Now get out of my office before I call security. Again. After she left, Hadley pulled up social media. Morgan had already posted a tearful video. My former best friend is trying to destroy me and my unborn child. She's good, Hadley admitted. The comments are sympathetic. Give it an hour. I checked my watch. Curtis's podcast interview should be going live any minute. Right on cue, my phone pinged with a notification. The podcast host's voice filled the room. Today, we're discussing real estate fraud with industry insider Curtis Rogers and his shocking revelations about a prominent developer's pattern of romantic cons. I turned it up just as Bodhi's voice recording played. The wedding planner's perfect, loaded, connected. My phone started ringing. Morgan again. I declined the call and opened my email instead. Time for phase 2. The trust fund revelation? Not yet. I attached the audio file from Sarah's confession, her tearful admission of stealing my identity. First, let's remind everyone that karma comes for everyone. I hit send. Within minutes, Sarah's carefully curated social media presence exploded with comments. Her influencer empire, built on trust and authenticity, began crumbling in real time. Your mother's watching, Hadley noted, tracking social media engagement. She just tried to access the trust fund accounts. Good, I smiled. Let her panic. My phone buzzed with a text from Curtis. Podcast is trending. Bodhi's trying to leave the country. He won't get far, I replied. Not with his accounts frozen. Another notification popped up. Morgan had posted another video, this time accusing me of endangering her health with stress. The comments were turning, people calling her brave. She's playing the victim card well, Hadley observed. Don't worry. I opened my laptop. I've been saving something special for this moment. I pulled up the video Hadley had secretly recorded at my wedding rehearsal. Morgan and Bodhi in an intimate embrace, discussing their plans, laughing about the fake pregnancy. When should I post it? Not yet. I checked the time. Let her dig herself deeper first. The bigger the lie, the harder the fall, Hadley finished. My phone lit up with a final text from Curtis. Everything's ready for next week's investor meeting. Bodhi took the bait. I leaned back in my chair, watching Morgan's crying face freeze-framed on social media. You know what the best part of being a wedding planner is? What's that? Understanding that timing is everything. I closed my laptop, and knowing exactly when to let the truth have its moment in the spotlight. Morgan's latest video hit 100,000 views. I smiled, thinking of the evidence waiting to be released. Let her have her audience. By this time next week, they'll all know exactly who she really is. And your mother, Sarah? They'll get their moment too. I stood up. After all, I planned this party down to the last detail, and everyone's invited. The blog post went live at exactly 9 a.m. The day my best friend stole my husband and why I let her. Within hours, it was viral. Holy shit, Hadley breathed, watching the view counter climb. 10,000 shares in the first hour. I'd written it like a wedding toast. Sweet, funny, and absolutely devastating. Every paragraph revealed another layer of their deception, backed by irrefutable evidence. The final section was simply titled, "The Video They Didn't Want You to See." My phone rang. Morgan. I put it on speaker. "Take it down," she sobbed. "Please, you're ruining everything." "Funny. That's exactly what you planned to do to me." I kept my voice calm. "How's the morning sickness, by the way? Still faking that too?" "I'll tell everyone you're lying." "With what evidence? The fake pregnancy test you bought? The doctored medical records?" I paused. "Or should we talk about the charity money you embezzled?" She hung up. Seconds later, my phone buzzed with a text from Curtis. "Bodie just got served with the fraud charges. He's asking to make a deal." "Perfect timing," I murmured, just as Sarah burst into my office. "The police took my passport." She was crying, mascara running. "My sponsors are dropping me. My followers think I'm a criminal." "Aren't you?" I turned my laptop to show her the identity theft evidence. "Or did someone else forge my signature on those loan applications?" "Mom said you'd never press charges. She said family protects family." I laughed. "Is that what she told you when she helped you steal from me? When she hid my inheritance?" Sarah's face went white. "What inheritance?" "Ask her yourself. She's probably watching her own empire crumble right about now." I turned back to my computer. "The police will want to talk to her too." "Deb, please." Sarah's voice cracked. "I'm your sister. And I'm the sister you betrayed. Funny how that works." I nodded to Hadley, who opened the door. "Goodbye, Sarah. Good luck with the criminal charges." After she left, Curtis arrived, carrying coffee and looking concerned. "You okay?" "Never better." I pulled up the blog stats. 500,000 views and climbing. Morgan's crying video has been debunked across every platform. Bodie's real estate empire is in flames. That's not what I meant. He sat down. "You've orchestrated the perfect takedown. But at what cost?" "Cost." I turned to him. "They tried to destroy me. My own family helped them. And now you've destroyed them back. Is it enough?" I opened my mouth to respond when my phone buzzed. A news alert. Local charity organization reveals $1 million fraud scheme. "There it is," Hadley said softly. Morgan's company just threw her under the bus. Another alert. Prominent social media influencer faces criminal charges for identity theft. Then another. Real estate mogul's pattern of romance scams exposed. Curtis touched my hand. "Deborah, don't." I pulled away. "Don't make this complicated." "It's already complicated." He stood up. "I've watched you orchestrate this whole thing. You're brilliant, strategic, unstoppable. And I think I'm falling in love with you." The office went silent. Hadley suddenly became very interested in her computer screen. "You can't," I said finally. "I can't trust anyone. Not after this." "I know." He headed for the door. "But when you're ready to build something real instead of burning things down, I'll be here." After he left, Hadley cleared her throat. "He's right, about the cost." The cost was worth it. Was it? She turned her screen toward me. "Look at these comments. People are calling you calculating, cold. They're saying you're just as bad as them. They don't understand, don't they?" She stood up. "You got your revenge. You exposed their lies. But what happens now? Where does all this anger go?" I stared at my computer screen, at the mounting evidence of my perfect revenge, at the wreckage of lives I'd systematically destroyed. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from my mother. "I always knew you were just like me." The words hit like a physical blow. Because maybe, just maybe, in becoming the architect of their destruction, I'd built myself into something I never wanted to be. I closed my laptop. "What time is the investor meeting tomorrow?" 2 p.m. Curtis says Bodie's desperate enough to show up. Good. I stood up. Because it's time for the final act. And this time, it's not about revenge. What's it about? I thought about Curtis's words, about costs and consequences, about the fine line between justice and vengeance. "It's about truth," I said finally. "And maybe, just maybe, redemption." The New Beginnings charity gala was packed. Every person who'd witnessed my wedding disaster was there, along with key players in the local business community. Morgan's former colleagues, Bodie's investors, my mother's social circle, all gathered under the pretense of supporting a good cause. "Ready?" Hadley adjusted my microphone. "Curtis says Bodie just arrived." I smoothed down my red dress. Definitely not white this time. Is Morgan here? Front row, trying to look sympathetic. Your mother's 3 rows back, next to Sarah. Perfect. I checked my reflection. Let's give them the show they came for. The lights dimmed. I took the stage, feeling hundreds of eyes on me. The giant screen behind me flickered to life. Thank you all for coming, I began. Tonight isn't about revenge, though I'm sure that's what many of you expected. I paused, finding Morgan's face in the crowd. It's about truth, about consequences, about the choices we make when we think no one is watching. The screen displayed a simple headline: The Cost of Betrayal. 3 months ago, I discovered something interesting. I clicked to the next slide: bank statements, transfer records, money disappearing from charitable foundations, investor funds vanishing into offshore accounts, a pattern of fraud spanning years. Bodhi shifted uncomfortably in his seat. But this isn't just about missing money. Next slide: Morgan's fake pregnancy test receipt, followed by her tearful social media posts. It's about the lies we tell, the trust we break, the lives we destroy for profit. Morgan stood up. You can't. Actually, I can. I nodded to Curtis at the back. The door's locked. Because unlike you, I have proof. The screen filled with video footage. Morgan and Bodhi planning their scam. Sarah admitting to identity theft. My mother's recorded confession about hiding my inheritance. But here's what fascinates me. I stepped forward. Each of you thought you were the mastermind. None of you realized you were being played against each other. I clicked again. New footage appeared. Bodhi secretly transferring money from Morgan's accounts. Morgan selling information about Bodhi's deals to competitors. Sarah reporting my mother's financial misconduct to the IRS. The room erupted in chaos. Morgan lunged toward Bodhi. You stole from me? You were selling me out, he shouted back. Enough! My voice cut through the noise. The FBI is outside. So are the police and the press. I smiled. But I'm giving you a choice. The room went silent. Option 1. Walk out those doors. Face the consequences of your actions publicly. Option 2. I held up a stack of papers. Sign these. Full confessions, complete restitution to your victims, and you do it quietly. Why would we? Bodhi demanded. Because I'm better at destruction than all of you combined. And if you don't, I'll spend the rest of my life making sure you never know a moment's peace. Morgan broke first. I'll sign. Smart choice. I nodded to Hadley, who began distributing the papers. Oh, and Morgan, the pregnancy test you used? I bought that company last week. Interesting what money can do when it's actually yours. My mother stood up. You can't prove anything about the inheritance. Actually, she can. Aunt Heidi emerged from the shadows. I kept everything, sister dear. Every document you forged, every lie you told. One by one, they signed. Sarah crying, Morgan shaking, Bodhi seething, my mother stone-faced. Now what? Sarah whispered. Now you leave, all of you. And if I ever see you again, these confessions go public. I turned to the crowd. As for the rest of you, thank you for coming to my real celebration. The screen changed one final time, announcing Williams and Waters' wedding planning, where trust meets tradition. Hadley and I are starting our own firm, one built on integrity, not deception. I raised my glass. To new beginnings and to karma. As security escorted the guilty parties out, Curtis approached the stage. That was not what I expected. No? You could have destroyed them completely. Why give them a chance? I thought about his words from yesterday, about costs and consequences. Because sometimes the best revenge is forcing people to live with what they've done. The crowd began to mingle, the event transforming into actual celebration. Hadley joined us, grinning. The confessions? Being filed with lawyers as we speak. I handed her a glass of champagne. Ready to build something real? Always. She clinked her glass against mine. But first, I think someone wants to ask you something. Curtis stepped closer. Have dinner with me. No schemes, no revenge, no past. Just us. I looked at him. Really looked at him. At his honest eyes and genuine smile. At everything Bodhi wasn't. Okay, I said. But I picked the restaurant. Deal. He took my hand. Think you can plan one more perfect day? I smiled, feeling lighter than I had in months. I think I can manage that. The morning sun streamed through my office windows as I reviewed the final paperwork. Williams and Waters had just landed our biggest client yet, a celebrity wedding that would put us firmly on the map. Mail's here, Hadley announced, dropping a stack of envelopes on my desk, including this. She handed me a thick cream-colored envelope. Inside was a check, restitution payment from Morgan's embezzlement scheme. The memo line read, "Payment 12 of 12." "That's the last one," Hadley said. "They've all paid up." I nodded, thinking of the past months. Bodie was working as a junior agent at a small real estate firm in Nevada, his license permanently revoked in our state. Morgan had moved to Seattle, working entry-level at a nonprofit under strict supervision. Sarah was doing community service and making monthly payments for the identity theft. My mother, well, she'd chosen exile in Florida. Did you see this? Hadley held up her phone, showing me Sarah's latest social media post, a humble, honest video about accountability and redemption. No filters, no fancy editing, just truth. She's actually doing the work, I mused. Good for her. My phone buzzed. Curtis. Lunch? Got something to show you? Go. Hadley grinned. I'll handle the Thompson consultation. I found Curtis at our usual spot, the cafe where we'd first plotted revenge. But today felt different, lighter. Look what came today, he said, sliding a document across the table. His private investigator license, newly minted. Congratulations. I squeezed his hand. From real estate to solving crimes. Quite a career change. Well, someone showed me how satisfying it is to uncover the truth. He smiled. Speaking of which, he pulled out a small box and my heart stopped. Before you panic, he said quickly. It's not a ring, not yet. We're not ready for that. He opened it, revealing a key. It's to my house. Move in with me? I stared at the key, remembering another man, another promise. But Curtis wasn't Bodie. Every day for months, he'd proven that. Yes, I said, taking the key. But I have conditions. Of course you do. He grinned. Let me guess. Separate bank accounts? And full financial transparency. I leaned forward. I need to know you understand why. I understand. He took my hand. I've watched you rebuild trust. With clients, with Hadley, with yourself. I want to be part of that rebuilding. My phone buzzed. Aunt Heidi. Coming to town next week. Dinner? Speaking of rebuilding, I showed Curtis the text. She's been amazing through all this. She helped you find your strength. No, I corrected. She helped me remember it. The cafe door chimed. A young couple walked in, clearly just engaged, that fresh love glow about them. The woman caught my eye and gasped. Oh my God, she whispered to her fiancé. That's her, the wedding planner from the viral post. I braced myself for judgment, for accusations of being cold or calculating. Instead, she approached our table with a smile. I know this is weird, she said, but thank you. Your story, it helped me trust my instincts about my ex. You showed me it's okay to demand honesty. After they left, Curtis squeezed my hand. See? Sometimes destroying something broken makes room for something stronger. Back at the office, Hadley was bursting with news. The Thompson consultation, they booked us, and you'll never guess why. She paused dramatically. The bride said she chose us because we value truth over pretty lies. I looked around my office, at the new photos on the wall, real moments of joy we'd helped create. At the vision board for Williams and Waters, filled with plans and possibilities. At the small plaque on my desk, trust is earned, not given. You know what? I said to Hadley. Clear my schedule for tomorrow morning. I want to work on that blog post idea we discussed. The one about rebuilding after betrayal? Yeah, I smiled. I think it's time to tell the next chapter of the story, not about revenge, but about what comes after. My phone buzzed one final time. A news alert about Bodie. He'd been caught trying to run another scam in Nevada. His past had finally caught up with him. I closed the alert without reading further. His story wasn't mine anymore. Ready to head out? Curtis appeared in my doorway, right on time. I looked at the key in my hand, at Hadley's excited face, at the life I'd rebuilt from ashes. Yeah, I said, standing up. I'm ready. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying everything. Sometimes it's about building something better.